Well, hello there. Let's make herb and garlic mushroom puffs. These delicious mushroom, herb, and cheese puffs are the perfect creamy and flaky bite. They're easy to put together and make an incredible appetizer with hardly any effort. Let's get started. First, I'm going to finely dice 1 shallot. Next, I'll peel and grate 3 cloves of garlic. Next, I'm going to separate the leaves from a small handful of thyme and then chop them up. I'm going to separate them into 2 equal portions. Half of the thyme leaves will be the garnish at the very end. I have a video on how to chop fresh thyme leaves. I will link it down below. Now I'm going to cut up the mushrooms. This is 226 grams or 8 ounces of white button mushrooms. First, I'm just going to give them a wipe with a wet paper towel, just wiping off any of the leftover bits of growing medium. It's harmless, but some of these have big chunks of it. And I'm going to slice them and then cut them into smaller pieces. I'm also cutting off and discarding the hard stem. For this recipe, you'll need mini muffin tins and frozen puff pastry. This is the kind I'm using. It's from Greece. Puff pastry needs to be thawed for about 2 hours before you can use it. This recipe makes about 36 mushroom puffs, so I'll only need 1 sheet of this puff pastry. I'm just going to gently unfold it, and then using a straight edge, I'm going to cut 2-inch by 2-inch squares. For the rest of the world, that's a 5 by 5 centimeter square. Once you've cut your squares of pastry, you're just going to gently press them down into the mini muffin tin, letting the corners hang over. And the only other thing to note is that depending on how non-stick your muffin tins are, you might want to spray them with non-stick cooking spray first. You'll see why later. Okay, let's just set those aside and cook the mushrooms. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. In a skillet over medium-high heat, add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Once that's hot, add the shallots and garlic. Cook that until the garlic becomes fragrant and then add the mushrooms. And another tablespoon of olive oil. Stir and cook so everything gets mixed together and then add half of the thyme leaves. Stir and cook until the mushrooms start to release their liquid, about 5 minutes. Now I'm going to add 1/4 cup of white wine. Use a wine you like to drink. This is what I'm using. Scrape the bottom of the pan to release all those delicious flavors. Once almost all the wine has cooked away, add some salt and pepper. Once that's stirred in, turn off the heat. Then add half a cup of grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese and a 150 gram or 4 ounce block of herb and garlic Boursin cheese. And just stir that until all the cheese is melted. Like this. Now grab your prepared mini muffin tins. Now before we put in our filling, I'm just going to take a fork and poke little holes in the bottom of the pastry. This is to prevent it from puffing up too much in the middle. Now I'm going to fill these cups with the mushroom mixture. I'm putting in about a tablespoon of mushrooms. Once all the cups are filled, I'm going to brush the exposed corners of the pastry with a beaten egg. I'm kind of sloppy at this, so feel free to do a better job. Okay, those are done, so into the oven for 25 minutes. And voila, here they are. Immediately when you take these out of the oven, sprinkle them with the remaining thyme leaves. You really need to try this recipe. These bites are so flaky and creamy and rich and delicious. Aren't they gorgeous? I mean, just look at this.
Perfection.
Now you can see maybe I should have used a little non-stick spray in this particular pan. The other ones were fine though. Letting the mushroom puffs cool for a little while will help you dig them out a lot easier. Struggling just a little bit, but that's completely normal for me.
You're not a professional.
You can serve these mushroom puffs hot out of the oven, or you can serve them at room temperature. You can find the link to the full printable recipe in the description box below. Let me know if you made them and if you liked them. Stick around because there are more appetizer recipes coming. Plus, at some point, we're going to pay the river tax. Thanks for watching. Let's make sesame almonds. Savory and slightly sweet, sesame almonds are a great party snack that can be made in about 20 minutes. They're caramelized and delicious with that yummy toasted sesame flavor. Let's get started. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. In a small pot over medium heat, add 1 cup of natural almonds, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Use more if you like things spicy. 1 teaspoon toasted sesame oil, 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar, and 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Stir until the sugar has melted and the almonds are coated in the sesame seeds, about 2 minutes. Spread the coated nuts in a single layer on a prepared sheet pan. You can line it with a silicone mat or parchment paper. And then these go in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. Let the nuts cool completely and then they'll be really easy to break apart. You can keep them in a sealed container for about a week, but you'll probably eat them right away. They are so delicious. They are salty and lovely and just a tiny bit sweet, just like you. And there you have it, sesame almonds in less than 20 minutes. You can find the link to the full printable recipe in the description box below. If you make these sesame almonds, please leave a comment and let me know how you like them. Don't go anywhere, I have another recipe coming right now. Let's make roast beef crostinis with whipped horseradish crème fraîche. It has tender roast beef that sits on the creamiest whipped crème fraîche on garlicky toasted baguette slices. Let's get started. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. First, I'm going to slice up a baguette. Next, you'll need a sheet pan. I've put a cooling rack on top of mine, but you don't have to do that. You can line it with parchment paper or a silicone mat or aluminum foil. I'm just going to line up these baguette slices on the sheet pan, and then I'm going to brush them with melted butter. And then I'll rub each slice with a garlic clove cut in half. This gives it a lovely garlic toast flavor without being too overpowering. And these go in the oven for about 10 to 20 minutes until they get nice and crispy, and then I'll set those aside to cool slightly while we make the whipped crème fraîche. First, I wanted to show you the roast beef that I got. This is a huge time saver. This beef is from the deli counter, and I had them shave it really thin. But look how gorgeous it is. It's perfect medium to medium rare doneness. It's absolutely delicious and perfect for our appetizer. Getting very thin slices makes it very easy to bite through. No one wants to be gnawing on a huge chunk of beef at a cocktail party. We're going to cut some green onion for the garnish. If you cut the green onion on an extreme angle, you can get these really thin matchsticks. For the whipped crème fraîche, we'll need juice and zest from half a lemon. To whip the crème fraîche, you'll need a medium-sized mixing bowl, 1 cup of crème fraîche, and a mixer. I'm using a hand mixer. And then just mix this like you would whipped cream until soft peaks form, like this. Now add your lemon juice and lemon zest. 2 tablespoons of prepared horseradish. This is creamy horseradish. 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now very gently fold all of that in. You don't want to deflate your whipped crème fraîche. All done? Now let's put these together. Lay out your crostinis. Spread a generous spoonful of that whipped crème fraîche on each toast. Add a pile of roast beef and another dollop of crème fraîche. Then pile on some of your green onion matchsticks. And there you have it, your roast beef crostini with whipped horseradish crème fraîche. Doesn't that look fancy? And they're so good. I hope you'll give these roast beef crostinis a try. You can find the link to the full printable recipe in the description box below. And now I think it's time to pay the river tax. Gentle. No, sit. Sit. Is that a good girl? Yeah? Well, hello there. Let's make a hot and cheesy crab dip. It has crab meat, all kinds of cheeses, lemon, and spices, and is the ultimate party appetizer. Let's get started. First, I'll make some crostini by slicing up this baguette, brushing with olive oil and garlic, and toasting under the broiler for about a minute on each side. Now let's make the dip. In a bowl, add cream cheese, sour cream, 2 teaspoons of Old Bay seasoning, a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and the juice from half a lemon. Using a hand mixer, beat that really well until it's completely combined. Then drain and add 1 can of crab meat. You can absolutely use fresh crab if you can afford it. Sometimes it has this annoying paper in the can. Don't forget to fish it out, pun intended.
You're a monster.
Now gently fold in that crab. You don't want to mash it into oblivion. The last thing I'm going to add is a 1/2 cup of Italian blend cheese and some chives. This is optional, but if you used garlic on your crostini, you can grate that in too. Add that mixture to a skillet and top with more cheese. Bake at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes until it's hot and bubbly, and then put it under the broiler for about 5 minutes so the cheese gets nice and browned. Serve with those crostinis you made, or you can also use crackers or soft pretzels or vegetable crudité. If you enjoyed this recipe, please do give me a like and subscribe. Here are a couple more appetizers you might like to try. Thanks for watching. Let's make caramelized onion dip. It's creamy and delicious with caramelized onions, cheese, and spices. Let's get started. First, I'm going to slice up 2 of these large sweet onions. I'm going to try a new method that's supposed to take 10 minutes, so I'm setting a timer because I think it'll take longer. In a large pan over medium heat, add 2 tablespoons of neutral oil. This is grapeseed oil. When that's hot, add the sliced onions. Sprinkle 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda over the onions. Stir continuously until browned and caramelized. While the onions are cooking, I'll tell you a little story. 40 years ago, my mom wrote a cookbook. She wrote this book while my sister and I were still in school and we were living in Minnesota. She gave this cookbook to us girls and all of our relatives and any of my friends that wanted one. She drew all the illustrations and inserted little jokes here and there. What I didn't know at the time was that she was dying. She had been diagnosed with cancer. It was treatable, but likely not survivable. She wanted to leave our family's favorite recipes with my sister and I so that we could make them and remember her after she was gone. But she never told us this. I remember her making all these recipes and we had to test them and give our rating. And any that we didn't like, she wouldn't put in the book. So these are truly our favorites. This onion dip recipe is based off a similar recipe in her book, but I've modernized it. Just checking in on the time, it's been 10 minutes so far. When you start to see some brown bits on the bottom of the pan, add a little bit of water and scrape that up. And if you're still with me, I can share that my idea is to take her recipes and modernize them, make them more from scratch, and clean them up. My mom, bless her heart, liked to use canned soup and packets of taco seasoning and onion soup mix in her recipes, and I'm just not into that. So I hope you'll stick around because I'll be doing a lot more of these recipe makeovers. These look like they're close to done. Okay, that took 17 minutes from heating up the pan until done. I think if I had sliced them thinner, it would have gone faster. Before I remove the onions from the heat, I'll add in about half a teaspoon of kosher salt and stir that in. They smell fantastic. Now let's make this dip. In a food processor or high-speed blender, add 2 cups of cottage cheese. Add in the onions. 1/4 cup room temperature cream cheese. And here are the spices. Pause to read. 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, thyme, parsley, celery salt, paprika, 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, and some kosher salt. Blend until smooth and then scrape down the sides and continue blending until completely mixed. If you like a chunkier dip, blend everything without the onions and then add the onions at the end and just pulse until you get the texture that you like. Let's taste it and see if it needs more salt or anything. It tastes great, so I'm just going to blend it a bit more. That looks pretty perfect to me. This dip is great with veggies or chips. I'm going to taste test it with some Old Dutch Ripple chips, a classic Canadian brand. Okay, I'm going in. I've got a chip in each hand like a demented monkey. Oh my God, so good. Damn, it's so good. This is my breakfast, by the way. The texture is just what I wanted. If you learned anything from this video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. You can find the full printable recipe on my website. I'm going to keep stuffing my face, but here's a couple more videos I think you'll like. Thanks for watching. Hello again. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Lulu, and today we're going to make a whipped brie with fig and walnuts appetizer. Let's get started. For this recipe, we're going to need 3 wheels of brie cheese. This is triple cream brie from Quebec. You'll want to use quality cheese here and not the cheapest kind. Trust me, it does not work. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you the epic fail that happened to me. So we're going to unwrap the cheese and then cut the rinds off. Here's a tip. Use a serrated knife when the cheese is cold to cut the rind off. It's much easier. Once all 3 wheels have been derinded, is that a word? It could be. Anyway, once that's done, chop the brie into cubes. It doesn't need to be perfect. Large chunks will work just fine. This really is an easy appetizer. It only takes 15 minutes. And there's no cooking involved. All you need is a stand mixer. I'm going to add that cheese to the bowl of the stand mixer, and then using the paddle attachment, we're going to beat the cheese for 10 minutes. We want the cheese to look light and fluffy like buttercream frosting. So set a timer for 10 minutes, walk away, do other things, contemplate your life, and when you come back, you'll have a delicious whipped brie. Honestly, I didn't think my poor rickety table was going to make it. After 10 minutes, the cheese looks light and fluffy and gorgeous. Now we're going to put the appetizer together. Spread the cheese in a nice bowl or on a plate. See this size of bowl right here that I'm using? The recipe makes enough for 2 of these. So you could make one this way with the fig and walnuts, and you could make a second one a different way. For example, maybe a cranberry spread with some chopped hazelnuts. I'm going to spread on some of this fig jam. You can put on as much as you like. That looks good to me. And finally, top with chopped walnuts. Serve with plenty of sturdy crackers or baguette slices. And here it is, whipped brie with fig and walnuts. Okay, if you've made it this far, it's time to show you my epic fail. This is what happens when you use a cheap store brand brie and then you use the wrong tool to try to make it. I also learned that the brie won't whip together properly if you don't have enough of it, and that's why you need 3 wheels. You can find the full printable recipe on my website. The link is in the description box below. If you liked or learned anything from this video, please do like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thank you for taking the time to watch today. Have a good one. Bourbon old-fashioned pecans. They're glazed with brown sugar, bourbon, dried cherries, and then sprinkled with orange zest. They're a delicious bar snack. Let's get started. First, I'm going to chop up half a cup of dried tart cherries. I'll add them to a small mixing bowl along with half a cup of bourbon. We'll set those aside and let them soak for about 30 minutes. In another small bowl, I'll add half a cup of dark brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of cracked black pepper, and half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Mix those together and set that aside. For the next part, you'll need a large skillet with a good fitting lid. We're working with alcohol later, so we want to be able to put out a fire if we have one. Over medium heat, add 4 cups of pecans. We're just going to toast them for about 5 minutes until they get nice and fragrant and toasty. Now I'll add a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter and stir that until it's completely melted. Now I'll add my sugar mixture. And I'll stir that until the nuts are completely coated and the sugar starts to melt. Now I'll turn off the heat and add the bourbon and cherry mixture. It's important to have the heat off when you do this step, just in case of fire. Once the bourbon stops bubbling, you can turn the heat back on to medium and cook until the glaze is reduced. Remember to stir constantly so it doesn't burn. About like this. Then we're going to remove it from the heat and spread the nuts onto a prepared sheet pan. Spread them out into a single layer. Bake in a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 10 minutes, stirring halfway through. Once the nuts are done, let them completely cool and then add the zest of 1 orange. Then stir well to coat every nut in the zest and oils from the orange. These nuts make a great gift. The recipe will make 6 1-cup jars of nuts to give away. Or you can keep them all to yourself. The nuts keep best in a sealed container. Now I think we should give these a try. As always, you can find the link to the full printable recipe in the description box below. Let me know if you tried the recipe and if you liked it. As always, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching.